Moving back across the continent to the Horn of Africa, the Secretary General says deeply concerned over reports of indiscriminate shelling and civilian casualties in the ongoing conflict in northern Ethiopia. He underlines that a sustainable peace cannot be found through military action. The Secretary General further notes that the continuation of the conflict jeopardizes the safety of civilians, the delivery of much-needed humanitarian assistance, and the stability of the broader Horn of Africa region. He reiterates his call for an immediate cessation of hostilities, the disengagement of regional countries from the conflict, and for the parties to move forward with the African Union-led mediation process as a sign of urgency. Also just want to give you a bit more granularity on the humanitarian situation in Ethiopia, especially in the northern part of the country, where the situation remains unpredictable and fluid, with hostilities continuing to drive more people from their homes. Hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children have been displaced in parts of Tigray, Afar, and Amhara regions, and is affecting the lives and livelihoods of millions living in conflict areas. The humanitarian convoy movement into Tigray from Afar continues to be suspended, and that's since August 24th, which is obviously cutting off life-saving supplies to millions of people in need. The humanitarian air service to and from Tigray have also been suspended since August 25th, and that has halted our ability to rotate humanitarian workers in and out, and also the transport of key supplies as well as cash, which is a critical component of our humanitarian operations. Large parts of Tigray province, as well as several areas in Amhara and Afar regions, are now inaccessible due to the ongoing fighting. This is significantly disrupting our humanitarian operations, and as well as access to people in need, including displaced people. Humanitarian partners are, however, continuing to respond in areas that they can access in the three regions, despite obviously the many challenges they face, as well as the stretched resources and capacities we have. In Tigray, the remaining stocks of humanitarian goods continue to be distributed. Between the 15th and 21st of September, more than 775,000 people were reached with food, but due to limited supplies, some 230,000 of these people received less than they would have had received otherwise. In Amhara and Afar, our partners are providing newly displaced people with food, water, emergency shelter, and other supplies, as well as health services. In southern and northeastern parts of Ethiopia, communities are continuing to suffer devastating drought following 4 consecutive rainy seasons, failed rainy seasons, obviously. Our partners are now targeting about 17 million men, women, and children for assistance for the rest of the year in those areas, 17 million. We continue to call on the parties to the conflict to take constant care to spare civilians and civilian objects, including vital infrastructure, and of course, yet again, reiterate our call to immediately facilitate the resumption of rapid and unimpeded passage of humanitarian workers, supplies, so that we can help those people that need help in conflict areas, wherever they are, in accordance with international humanitarian law. We appeal with for urgent funding to support the response across Ethiopia. Our partners are reprogramming their response to address the most urgent needs and to sustain life-saving operations. In at least an additional $1.8 billion, which is 60% of the total amount needed, is still not with us.